Hello, welcome to my channel and welcome back to the Hunter Call of the Wild. So today we are going to go through what I believe is my top 10 great one moments of 2025. I got 18 great ones in total in 2025, and so I ranked them from 10 all the way down to number 1 with some honorable mentions. Now, you may be thinking, why now, Caitlin? Why in March are you trying to do this top 10 of 2025? This should have been a video you did at the beginning of the year when we were reminiscing about the year prior, whatever. And you're right, I was going to make this video at the beginning of the year. However, after recording my lodge tour and editing it, and it's over an hour long, I kind of lost some steam, and so I put this video on the way back burner, and it just never really came back up until recently when I was reminiscing about great ones. Now, of course, because this is something that is going to use clips from my great ones throughout 2025, unfortunately, when I make videos after I'm done editing and uploading them to YouTube, I do go ahead and delete all of the footage because I don't want it taking up space on my PC, so I can have more space for games and also more clips for future videos and content. So unfortunately I had to download all of the videos that were already uploaded to YouTube, which means that the quality kind of degrades with the download. So apologies in advance for the lack of quality or the degradation of the quality of the clips that we're going to show off these great ones. Of course, if you want to go and watch those videos, I'll have everyone linked in the description below, and you can see the edited videos. But of course, if you want to see the unedited videos, I do also take every great one down live. So you can go through my live streams, and the thumbnails are always of whatever great one we're taking down. And so you can go back and watch the unedited, because obviously whenever I'm live, sometimes the great one spooks, we have to reset time. Sometimes we try and take a bear like up in the mountains, and that often doesn't happen, and we just end up taking it at its drink zone. And of course, I can't keep all that in the edited down video. Nobody wants to watch that. We have to be a little more concise. So if you want to see like all the shenanigans in between stocking up and that kind of stuff that goes along with taking down a great one, go ahead and watch them on the live streams. But yeah, the videos should be a better quality than what I'm going to show in this video now. So for those of you who are around my streams and follow along on my great one journey, you know that I have been on a great one pheasant grind for 5 months now. I started on a pheasant grind in like October 3rd or 4th, and it is now end of March, and I still don't have this great one pheasant. It's been probably about 7,000 plus kills, 77 diamonds, and 12 rares, and I still do not have the great one pheasant. I've been trying to get this thing because I'm on great one number 39. I wanted something fresh and new, a species I didn't have a great one of, for number 40. And to me, the pheasant was the perfect choice. Oh, it should be easy, maybe tops 3,000 kills. No. I started the pheasant grind, and since I've started the grind, we got the great one wolf and the great one boar. It's been a long time coming. I haven't gone for anything else. I haven't been shooting any of my favorite species outside of pheasants because I really want this pheasant to be number 40, right? Well, I finally resigned and I've added a wolf and a boar grind, so at least something new will be my 40th great one. And then once we get that 40th great one, I'll go back to shooting my favorite species like bears, moose, and fallow, among other things. But yeah, so I've been trying to go after this pheasant. And so it has been since September 29th since I've had a great one. That was the last time I spawned. I spawned two great ones in one stream, which they may be on this list. But that it has been since September 29th since I've had a great one. So I'm kind of in a nostalgic, reminiscent mood. Hey, remember when I got great ones? Well, let's talk about my top 10 favorite great ones of 2025 with some honorable mentions. Please remember to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and if you'd like to and you think this deserves to go out to more people, hype the video. That's a new YouTube feature. Give us some hype points. I would really appreciate it. And I will have chapters in the description down below and all the Great One videos linked. Enjoy! Coming in at number 10 is actually the first Great One of 2025, and that is Bearvoyant. Bearvoyant was my 10th Great One bear, and he at the time was my longest bear grind. I am now currently on like a 2,500 kill grind. Bearvoyant took just under 2,200 kills, and it just kind of seemed fitting that my 10th bear also took the longest at the time, of course, like I said. And also, what is interesting about this bear is that I just had this weird feeling that because it was my 10th bear and that it was taking longer kills wise than usual, I just had this feeling that it was also going to be my 4th spirit bear. And I even also guessed or kind of had a feeling which lake he would spawn. And sure enough, I got it right with both spirit and the lake, the stone surrounding lake with like the sandy lake with the stone around it. And that's why his name is Bearvoyant, because I was clairvoyant and kind of knew what this bear was gonna be. And it also just seemed fitting as well because my first ever Great One bear was the spirit. So it kind of felt like a full circle moment to have my 10th Great One bear, like first double digit of the Great One bears, be a repeat of my first Great One bear, my 4th spirit overall, which is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I just felt like I was gonna have a spirit for number 10. We were trying to get one more. All I needed was one more fur at this time. I needed the Glacier 2. So I was really hoping that he would end up being the Glacier 2. But he ended up being the spirit, like I knew, just because he was giving me so much trouble and he was number 10. The spirit bear, though it's not my favorite, it does hold a special place in my heart because the spirit bear was my first Great One bear, and that Great One video, the Great One bear video, kind of kickstarted my channel in a lot of ways. So it honestly wasn't the worst. I could have had, you know, I don't know, another chestnut or something, 2 chestnuts in a row, but I didn't. So that is number 10. Coming in at number 9 is yet another bear. Imagine it, the Bear Queen having 2 bears right off the bat on this countdown. But yes, another bear, and that was Serendipity. So Serendipity was my 12th Great One bear, so we skipped ahead a few, but he's my 12th Great One bear, and he was a chestnut, which chestnut is not my favorite fur. This was my 2nd chestnut. Not my favorite fur, so why the heck is he on this list? Well, you see, this was my shortest grind, firstly. Only 57 kills is still my shortest bear grind to date. Only 57 kills. Crazy. And also, I'm pretty sure like that followed, I had like a 70 something before that and an 80 before that. So I had a streak of really short bear grinds, but he was my shortest grind to date, 57 kills. But what makes him like the most special is that we were celebrating that I had just made partnered content creator for Expansive Worlds, joined the Hunter Network. And of course, to do that in Bear Queen style, I wanted to do a bear grind on stream. And so we started streaming the bear grind. I'm pretty sure this was a fresh grind. And in no time, he spawned on stream. And so it was early enough in the stream that I got to take him on stream. And we were gonna try and like track him up into the mountains and take him at a rest zone. And I did try to do that, but in the meantime, my chat was really kind to me, specifically Brian, and they started sending me donos, and so I started to get into the whiskey a little bit to celebrate. So by the time I had tracked this bear, after spooking it multiple times up in the mountains, which is how it always goes, um, I was feeling the whiskey, so I finally kind of resigned and decided I would take him at his drink zone, as I probably should have from the beginning. And so I was really feeling the whiskey by that point, and I almost botched him. I almost botched him. So not only was he the celebration bear, but I got a clutch liver shot and only got liver. And his name is Serendipity because it was serendipitous that I got a bear to celebrate making partner for the Hunter Call of the Wild. When again, bears were something that kind of kickstarted my channel because of me getting the Great One Bear when not many people had gotten them. And also, Serendipity was on my side and helped get me that clutch liver shot because man, was it rough. I almost ruined it. Would never ruin my night that much, but I'd never ruined a bear yet. So luck was on my side and I did not ruin my celebration bear. But yeah, he was number 9. I will say it's really hard to rank all of these great ones, especially like in 2025, I got 18 great ones. So it's really hard to do like a top 10 and a few honorable mentions. And in a lot of the cases, like I think all great ones are special, but sometimes the circumstance and the story around that great one kind of outweighs like its specialness and just being a great one alone. So that's kind of how I'm ranking it. But of course, if you guys have any other thoughts or like thought I should have had other honorable mentions or whatever, do sound off down below in the comments. But moving on to number 8. So number 8 is we got a double header, 2 for 1 on this one because these two are super special. It's Musical and Moo Latte. So these are the last great ones that I had of 2025. They spawned on September 29th on a Moose Monday, and I took them on the following Wednesday, October 1st. And yeah, they were the last great ones I got. Both of them spawned back to back on stream. It was wild. And on top of that, it was a week after my birthday moose, which may or may not be on this list. But anyway, so Musical was a spruce spider and he was less than 100 kills. I had just started back up the moose grind on this Moose Monday stream and he just spawned like less than 100 kills. Like it was wild. And it was my 3rd spider rack in a row, which spider rack is my favorite, so that's fine. I honestly wasn't a fan of the spruce until I got one, and seeing that beautiful cream face against like the butter yellow orange fur, almost like a brown moose got into a bad bleach job. That's kind of what it looks like. But that mixed with like the orange tint of the spider rack is absolutely stunning. And then on top of it, he has those beautiful blue eyes. And him against the evergreen / burnt forest of Yukon just stood out so majestically. And I was just shocked to have another moose on stream because the moose a week prior to this, my birthday moose, spawned off stream. So it's always fun to get great ones on stream. So after that, we move on to my fallow. I had an ongoing fallow grind. It was one that came off of a 3,200 kill grind. And I was like, I think 800 some kills in. And at 899 kills, something like that, I had just switched over. I had just switched over to the fallow from just spawning musical. I was gonna save him for my next stream until so more people could be in there. And I switched over to fallow, and shortly after that, my great one fallow, my 16th great one fallow spawned, Mulate, and he was my first ever repeat of the first combo I ever got for Great One Fallow, the Mocha Spoon. And it was just crazy that I got, once again, got two great ones in one day and both on stream. Like I said, it's like always such a thrill to be able to share a great one spawning with the people on stream. Like, it's awesome to spawn a great one and get the reaction like by yourself, but just having the chat go extremely excited, getting extremely excited and going crazy because, you know, it's kind of at that point a joint effort. So to get them two in a row and a week after spawning in a moose as well was just wild. So these two, of course, had to be on the list, especially because they were my last great ones of 2025, which I never thought that was going to be the case because I thought, again, the pheasant, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so these two are very lucky, and that's probably why my pheasant luck hasn't been great because these guys sucked it up. On to the next. Coming in at number 7 is Hades. So Hades was my third ever Great One Moose and my second Ashen in a row. And what makes him so cool is he was actually my first ever moose with the spider rack, and he set off 3 spider racks in a row. But the spider rack is my favorite rack, so seeing it in game for the first time was absolutely magical. And actually, so he was another one, I think my first moose that spawned on stream, and it was also on a Moose Monday in less than 100 kills because my moose are that cracked on Yukon. But he spawned and I saw the spider rack, and the way the light was hitting, I thought he was a speckled, which a speckled spider is my dream moose. And so I did have like a mini freak out on stream, and then I realized it was an Ashen and I got my composure. But he was also my second Ashen in a row, and my other one, Mucifer, my first one, I botched him. So this was also my chance to immediately get revenge or avenge my botched Ashen moose. But this was cool as well because it was a Moose Monday stream and I was kind of losing some steam. So I was gonna hop off early at like 1:30 a.m. And Old Man Rum was in the stream and he's like, no, go. Like, I just got on. I wanted to watch for a little bit. Go until the hour. Go to 2 at least. Like, okay, fine. So I, do another moose rotation, and like one of my last zones, there he is. And Rum's like, see, I told you to go over the hour. So thanks to Rum, we did get to see this moose on stream. I probably would have been shooting moose off stream and it would have not been as cool because, like I've already mentioned, it's always more fun to get to share great ones spawning on stream with the chat than whenever you're by yourself at 3 a.m. doing a grind off stream. But yeah, it's just really awesome to finally get the rack, to see the rack that you want in game, and then to see it with so close to the speckled. But we'll get him. He's one step closer to my speckled spider. On to the next. Coming in at number 6 is yet another moose. 2025 was my year for moose, everyone. My year for moose. And that number 6 is Confetti. Confetti is my birthday moose. Now, this was hard to place because he is my birthday moose. And I mean, what can top getting a great one to spawn? He didn't spawn actually on my birthday, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But around my birthday, but of course there were some cooler ones. So I thought 6 was a good middle ground for confetti. So he spawned on my birthday. My birthday was on a Moose Monday, and I actually took this day off from streaming. But I decided, you know what? It's Moose Monday. I'm gonna shoot moose. So confetti actually spawned like early into the Tuesday, but we'll just say he was on my birthday, okay? And then of course we took him the following Wednesday since I don't stream on Tuesdays. And this was probably under 500 kills. And of course, this was the second spider in a row, right after right after Hades. We got confetti. Well, not right after, but Hades set off the spiders. So confetti was our second ever spider rack moose, and he is an oak as well. Of course, oak isn't really my favorite of the furs, but oak is like this yellowy pound cake color with some chocolate sprinkles. And the spider rack kind of looks like it could be like party streamers. So he's perfect for my birthday. And I named him Confetti because confetti on a birthday, like, it's so much fun. But was also what made it really cool was I got this epic heart shot on him with the crossbow on stream. I crawled up nice and close, and before he could like bolt, I got a heart shot on him, which was absolutely epic. Trying to get that close to a Great One Moose is not easy at all. But yeah, it's just always special to have a great one around your birthday. I've done that 2 years in a row now. And his rack is wonky. That is the icing on the cake. Get it? Because he's a birthday moose. And I also, because he is special, he's special, I have him in the center of my lot, like in the stairwell, because my Great One Lodge is Spring Creek Manor. So the first set of stairs, I have him right there in his wonky glory, and he greets everyone as they go up the stairs. So that is confetti in number 6. Coming in at number 5 is popcorn. So, oh boy, this guy. Honestly, he's ranking so high because he was my first Great One mule deer. But this grind was something else because I went against my own rule where I usually wait until the hype dies down for a new Great One, until I go after the Great Ones. And then I also usually never grind on a brand new map. I usually leave it open so I can go and explore it. And I went against both of those rules, and I jumped right into the mule deer grind on a ski ridge. And what made this even more, it's not that I didn't enjoy it, and it wasn't unbearable, but what was kind of a bit of a torture was that everyone around me was spawning multiple Great Ones and even super rares while I was stuck on my first grind. This guy was 2,225 kills. And I got every rare at the time because there's now 3 new rares. I still need the albino, but I got all the rares other than that. And yeah, it was just difficult to be on this grind while everyone else was at the same time, and they're spawning awesome trophies left and right. And it just felt like he would never spawn. Now, fortunately, I do like his combo. He's the Dripple Drizzle with the Velvet Rack. I think he's beautiful. I really like him. It just seemed like he never was gonna pop. And what's wild is I was shooting moose and fox while on this grind, and I spawned one of each. I think I spawned my fox a week before this guy. My second fox a week before this guy. It's crazy, like, that I needed a break from mule deer, so I went and shot moose and fox, and I got one of each of those before my first mule deer. Like, wild. But because of this guy, it definitely reinforced my rule of not starting a grind when it's oversaturated and not starting a grind on a brand new map and actually exploring the map and getting the trophies you want off that map. Um, which I did do that. I'm just now getting onto a wolf and a boar grind after being on the pheasants for so long. Um, but I do like the great one mule deer and I will go for more of them. But this one, ooh, this was a rough one. So he's my number 5 just because he was the first mule deer in the year that they came out. So number 5. Moving on. Coming in at number 4 is Claudius. Claudius was my second great one fox. He is a scarlet nightshade. His name is Claudius because I needed something that sounded... So to me, Scarlet Nightshade kind of sounds like an assassin or something. And my little nerdy literature heart was like, oh my gosh, Hamlet. His dad was assassinated. What's the name of Hamlet's uncle who assassinated his dad? Claudius. So he's named after Hamlet's uncle. In general, having not one but 2 great one foxes, I think, is quite the achievement. As someone who usually goes after other things, lots of fallow and bears and moose. So I think it's one of the most illustrious great ones in the game. Even now that people are finally, figuring out ways to get them. But yeah, I'm really proud of having both my foxes and they're in the multi-mount together. And I will not be removing them when I get my great one pheasant. But this guy was quite the surprise because, like I said when I was talking about popcorn, I was just shooting fox to shoot something other than mule deer. And I was not expecting for a one to spawn, but this guy spawned in only 188 male foxes. Like, that is wild. And he was at the same lake that my first great one fox spawned. And I fast traveled to that lake and he was in between zones. He was traveling and I spooked him and I heard the call in front of me. So I actually spotted him running away and I didn't believe I saw the color variation. And I thought, wait, is that like a Mela? It's too fuzzy to be a Mela. And then I spotted it and I was literally speechless. I was in disbelief that in only 188 male kills, I got another fox. Like, what was my luck of 2025, right? Getting all these really cool, great ones. But yeah, he spawned 4 days before my mule deer, which is just wild that like... I was so fed up with mule deer, I shoot foxes and I get a second one. Like, that just seems not right, but I guess the predator great ones like me, so hopefully my wolf spawns shortly. But yes, Claudius is number 4. Coming in at number 3 is none other than Oswald. Oswald is my first great one moose, an oak typical, my least favorite rack, and maybe my least... I don't know if it's my least favorite fur. I don't think I really dislike any. I don't know. The Ashen's kind of meh. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Oak typical. And it's kind of like my spirit bear. It's not my favorite combo, and the spirit bear is not my favorite, but because it's my first it holds a special place in my heart, and that's kinda what I feel like Oswald, like, I did that because this was definitely quite the achievement because I started looking for moose zones on Yukon shortly after the Great One Moose launched or released in 2022, in December of 2022. I started looking for my moose zones and I started doing like Moose Mondays, but Yukon is was so intimidating and overwhelming with the wetlands and all the lakes and the giant river, which moose are the whole way up the river, that I just very rarely did moose grinding or setting up of my moose grind, and I was just intimidated. And so finally at the beginning of 2025, I was really wanting to get a Great One Moose, and I was just like, fuck it, screw it. Let's go and ignore the river. I'd pretty much HM'd down the wetlands, and I'd actually herd managed a lot of the lakes as well, which was beneficial for the lakes that I didn't want to use. But I decided on what lakes I wanted to use as my main zones, and I set up on them, and I get like 20 to 21 bull moose a rotation, and I just focus on the lakes, and it's worked for me. I spawned 5 Great One Moose in 2025, which is wild. So 2.5 years of fiddling around with trying to make up or trying to set up a grind, and then finally just buckling down and only focusing on the lakes, and my moose are just fantastic. I think maybe like taking the Yukon bull by the horns kind of earned some respect points, and that's why my moose are cooperating. I don't know. But it was just super special. Unfortunately, it was offline. It was like probably 3 a.m. I just Old Man Rum I was watching his stream and he had just logged off. Yeah, Oswald actually spawned at a lake that has since been managed down. I got rid of it. It's no longer in my rotation, but which was fine because he was in a terrible spot. I tried to take him with the 454 and that didn't happen. But anyway, when I spotted him, I was really emotional. Like that's one of the most emotional I've gotten other than when I got my first bear, because it was just like, after all this time, I finally see a Great One Moose in my game. And so it was really like a sight to behold. And then, yeah, that just kind of made this snowball effect where I got 5 Great One Moose in less than 2,000 kills. And I've gotten my 301 scoring. And now I need to go back to get the 2 furs that I don't have because I haven't been on a moose grind since they've been released. But yeah, just super special. And I think the moose is tied for number 2 with the fallow for my favorite Great Ones. So, well, bears and then the moose and the fallow I think are tied for 2 just because the fallow have been really kind to me as well. But yes. That's Oswald, and I think he was probably under 1,000 kills, if that. If that. So, I guess he's like a testament to something like, if you think HMing a map is overwhelming, you don't have to. You don't have to HM a map. Just focus on the zones you like and you will get a great one. Maybe not as in few kills as I've done, but you will get one. And it's like my map's slightly managed, just because I did leave a bunches of 2s and things in the wetlands and on some of the lakes. But yes, that is my number 3. Coming in at number 2 is Anubis. This is probably one of the biggest highlights. I mean, obviously he's number 2. He would probably be 1 if we didn't get what number 1 is. Cryptic, I know, but you'll find out later. But anyway, The highlight of 2025 was getting Anubis, who was my first Great One fox, because everyone was enamored with everyone in my friend group was enamored with the pheasants and getting a lot of them, where I was going after the Great One fox. And I got Anubis. He is a fabled licorice, and he was only 650 male kills. Again, like wild that he was like just not even close to 1,000 male kills. Like I'm super lucky, super lucky. Like that's fewer males than my first Great One bear. My first Great One bear was like 714. Just absolute wild numbers. Of course, when I say male kills, we are shooting the females as well, but they obviously don't go into the they obviously don't turn into a Great One, right? Respawn as a Great One. But he also spawned on stream. He was also a wild one where we didn't actually see him at his zone. I was running around his lake and I picked up a max weight track, which ended up being a level 9. And I was following that track whenever I heard the chirp of a male fox. And so I went to spot this fox and I saw him running away, and I could just tell that it was not a normal fox. And I spot him and I freaked out because I was shocked. I was shocked. And again, like spawning him on stream, you get that reaction and that adrenaline pumping because there's so many people who are rooting for you, right? And it was just also crazy that it ended up being, I think, a troll level 9 right next to him in the same zone. But it was just unreal to be one of the few to get a Great One fox. And like I said, I think they are, I mean, at the time I got this, they were so pretty elusive. And like I said, a lot of people were going for the pheasant rather than the fox because fox just seems so daunting. And I do still believe they're one of the most illustrious Great Ones, maybe outside of like the tar. I mean, tar's feed zone, but yeah, it was definitely my highlight, one of the biggest highlights of 2025, and just getting to do it on stream, and of course taking it on stream, and like just there's nothing like it. And we got to take him with the 22-250, which is the weapon of Emerald Coast and what I was using on the grind, and just everything about him was perfect. And actually neither of my foxes are like top 3 for me, but they are gorgeous and they look so nice together, Anubis and Claudius. But yes, Anubis of course had to be near the top, if not the top. If number 1 wasn't there, Anubis would have been number 1. But yes, he is our number 2. Guess what? This is where I'm putting in those pesky honorable mentions, because you think I'm gonna just let you go straight to number 1 on this list? Right now, if you got this far in the video, write down below what you think number 1's gonna be, okay? Write it down below. And then see if you're right. But I got some honorable mentions for ya. Our first honorable mention is Disnutsky. So named by Old Man Run himself. This guy, he was my second longest fallow grind. The fallow drove me a little nutty. He was my second longest grind at 3,254 kills. On top of that, my second longest grind for a repeat of a painted blade. And to top that off, I botched him. Which ironically was in the zone where I had botched my first ever super rare. So I literally had just reincorporated this zone for the first time in a long time because I just needed more fallow bucks to shoot. So I reincorporated this zone, and this zone was the one that I spawned my first ever super rare first ever super rare on a Great One grind, and it was a 265 scoring piebald fallow. And I got really close and diligently stocked up on it just to shoot too high. With the 22-250, I shot too high and I spined him. And ironically, these Nutski spawns in this zone, and I'm just so over it, and I didn't really care. Like, I cared, but I didn't. I was just over it. Like, are you kidding me? All these kills, literally being driven insane just for it to be a repeat. So I took a terrible shot, like 300 meters. He was on a incline, like on the side of the coast hill thing, just terrible. And so I botched him. I botched him. But his name, Deez Nutsky, is perfect because, like, suck these Nutsky, you know? Like, he's just all around a character. So I would be remiss if I didn't include him as an honorable mention, just because, you know, there's some lore behind him, you know? I think, yeah, the name gives some character. Of course, my first painted blade was called Van Gogh, because, you know, a painter with a blade chopped off his ear. I get it. But anyway, moving on to the next one. Our next one kind of goes along with Dizdetsky, unfortunately, because he spawned 2 days later and I botched him too. And it's none other than Mucifer. Mucifer was my second Great One Moose to spawn, a gorgeous ashen non-typical. The non-typical rack is my second favorite rack. And to see it in game is just magnificent, a sight to behold. And I actually took my time with this one. I stocked up on him. I wanted to take him with the 454 because I tried to take Oswald with the 454 and it just didn't happen because Oswald was in a terrible location and I wanted to be super cautious with my first ever Great One Moose. So I ended up taking Oswald with something else, maybe like the 7mm. I don't honestly remember. But anyway, I stock up on Mucifer, which that is in itself could have told me something wasn't going to be right because his name's Mucifer. However, you know, it was kind of predetermined that my first Ashen Moose would be Mucifer. Anyway, stock up on him. I have the perfect line of sight. He's perfectly broadside. But alas, there's a marking on his shoulder that's a little higher than I noticed, than I realized. And I aimed for that marking and it was right at the base of his spine. And the way his lungs dipped down did not hit lung. And he ran. And I tried to get a follow-up shot and it just didn't happen on a moose running away. And all I have is the 454. And it was 2 days after I just botched these Nutski. So I botched 2 great ones in 1 week. Absolute terrible. Absolutely terrible. Like, I never want to botch a great one, and I certainly don't want to do it twice in 1 week. But he still looks beautiful with that giant non-typical rack. I would love to see that on a speckled, my favorite fur, or anything, honestly. You know, after that week, I'm surprised anyone still wants to watch me. Because, I mean, I have a terrible track record, I guess. But, yes, Mucifer was something. And to do it on my second ever moose, like, if he were, like, number 10, oh, whatever. Number 2, ouchie. And that takes us into our third and final honorable mention, and that is Chunk. Chunk is my second and last Great One Mule Deer. I'm mentioning this guy because I spawned him during an early access, and that was the first time ever that I spawned something during an early access. So I was grinding mule deer for the early access of the pump, flip, and fire pack, which delivered my beloved chunk, the 257. And earlier that day, I had gotten a video ready for early access of me using the 410 shotgun onto melanistic mule deer. And actually, one of the melanistics was in the zone that chunk spawned in. Chunk spawned on stream during early access, and he is a dusky drift with the spiral rack, which I think is the perfect combo, especially for the spiral rack. I think that fur is perfect for him. And he was only 899 kills rather than over 2,000. But it was just awesome to be able to spawn a great one during an early access. Like, no, it wasn't for the map release, but just to be able to show off the new weapon DLC on a great one was something that I'd wanted to be able to have the opportunity to do as a partnered content creator. And it was just super special, and he's really cute. I think he's really cute with his white whiskers and blue eyeballs. But yes, we called him Chunk after my beloved 257 Chunk pump action rifle. Let's move on to number one. All right. Coming in at number one is my most specialist great one of 2025, and that is Bear Curtiz. Of course, it's a great one, Bear. Like, come on, you should have known that. But Bear Curtiz is my 11th great one bear, and my first and only Glacier 2, the last fur we needed to complete the collection. Which it's wild that it only took 11 bears to complete the collection. I don't have repeats of either of the glaciers. Bear Curtiz was my last fur needed. And of course, he was fashionably late, coming at number 11 rather than at number 10 like I wanted. But it was worth the wait, and he is my second favorite fur variation after the spotted is Glacier 2. I know some people think it's like the dirty glacier, but I think he's a wizened old man. He just looks like an old bear with graying around his face and markings like that around his body. And that's why his name is Bearcrates, like Socrates, but Bearcrates, because he's a wizened old bear. He knows a thing or two. But yes, after 2.5 years of going for the Great One Bear, I completed the collection and got the last puzzle piece for having every one of the furs. Now, of course, I'm not gonna stop shooting bears. I'm not done yet. I still need a max score and a min score Great One. I also need a super rare or two or three. But yes, I will never stop shooting bears. It is an integral part of my channel. It's kind of just who I am. I am the bear queen after all, but it was just bittersweet that to finally finish something that I'd been out looking for so long. And it is fitting that the bear was the first collection that I finished. I'm working on fallow. I only have 8 more combos for fallow, so who knows how many that's going to take. But yeah, to get all 6 furs in 11 bears to me seems kind of crazy. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's done it sooner than that. I could have been like fallow. I got all the furs in a row, but yeah, he's just super special. And I kept saying that Anubis could have been one, but no, it had to be the bear, of course. And Bear Curtiz was only 80 kills after I got Bear Voyant. which is kind of wild as well that I just had this like streak of short grinds and now I'm on a 2,500 kill bear grind. I haven't gotten a great one bear since last February. I need more bears in my life, but yes, my man Bearcrates at number one, my beautiful Glacier 2 boy. Were you right? Did you guess? Did you guess correctly? Hmm? We did it. We did it. Thank you so much for watching this video. It was just something fun, you know, reminiscing about when I got great ones because they haven't been spawning right now for me, which is fine. Like, I got super lucky with most of those. So, my time for a long grind had finally come and it makes sense. It's my karma, whatever. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do you agree with my ranking of my own great ones? Was there one that I didn't mention that you wished had been on the list? Because I'm sure a lot of you have seen them all. Again, speaking of that, the videos that I used for this are all linked in the description below. And like I said, if you want to go further and watch the unedited takedowns of these great ones, you can go back and watch the live streams. They're all still live, I think, should be. And they will have the corresponding great one as their thumbnail. So they should be really easy to find. But yeah, thank you so much. If you want to watch the Great One Grinds live, I stream Wednesday through Monday. Sometimes I'll take a day off other than Tuesday if I'm not feeling it, but I stream mostly, try to stream Wednesday through Monday from 10 p.m. EST to 1:30 or 2 a.m. EST, depending on if I'm feeling it or not. So I would love to have you guys stop over and hang out with me while I grind for great ones. And I also try to do a challenge on Thursday where I look for fur trade animals. That's something fun. I have yet to make a video of what we found during those streams because there are some cool things I've gotten during those streams. Hopefully that'll be a video. Also stop by on Fridays where I join Old Man Rum doing prime time where I'm on a brand new account and I search my new maps as a new account and I'm leveling up and skill treeing out on a brand new account looking for trophies for prime time, and sometimes I stream it, sometimes I don't, just depending on how I am. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you hopefully in my next stream or my next video. Bye.